everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to Ashanda At Large, where we discuss faith, family, and the future of our community. It's been a minute since I've done a recording. I've been doing a lot of lives lately, and I'm excited about that. But I wanted to go ahead and do a recording real quick because I think these discussions give me an opportunity to just say some things in a concise manner that usually the lives I would flesh more out. So I'm going to discuss this whole idea as far as me when it comes to building our community and why I think it's important that we have a balanced perspective. But before I get into it, I want to invite you all to like as well as to subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. And don't forget to hit that notification bell on your right. Now, many of us who are within the Israelite community, we have seen that this week has been a whole lot going on in terms of our building, in terms of our ability to communicate with those who oppose us but are of the bloodline, whether they receive their Israelite lineage or not. We are at a different space and place. I think collectively we're all going in the same direction. Now, we all have different missions within that ministry. We have different aspects to what it is that we're bringing to the table. But I think that we're all coming to this united consensus that we must learn how to build together. Why? Because the truth is that all of us, whether or not we like it or not, we have the same enemy. Now, we know that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood. We know that we're wrestling against spiritual wickedness in high places that uses principalities and powers, these rulers. And I think, unfortunately, because many of us come out of the Christian circles, that we have not pinpointed and targeted the human actors that play a huge role in this Ephesians 6 war. But now we are coming to the understanding that what we're seeing among Israel and the opposition to Israel, or if you want to just say black people, period, that come throughout the diaspora from the transatlantic slave trade, is that institution of white supremacy. And whether or not you agree with how much it is affecting us as a community, surely you can see that it has definitely affected us to some degree. So the thing is that what I'm seeing is that they are at a place where they are losing a bit of control. Why? Because they're losing control over us. They're losing their ability to continue to mind warp us with their ideologies. They are losing their ability to mind warp us with their politics and policies. And that is affecting their bottom line. That is affecting their dollars. Because at the end of the day, you know, there's this saying that says, follow the money, honey. At the end of the day, whether it's religious or political, at the end of the day, it's all about economics. At the breakdown of it, it's all about economics. When you consider what's going on with the prison industrial complex, it's all about economics. The nation was built on the back of free labor. That's all about economics. When you talk about what we were educated with our ancestors in the churches, the slave Bible, the slave narrative, it's all going back to economics. It always goes back there. And this is why I believe that the Most High made it clear that you cannot serve him and serve mammon at the same time. Why? Because you're going to love one and despise the other. And what we're seeing is that the system of white supremacy has corroborated together, whether it's religiously or politically. Why? To align themselves with the God of mammon, the God of this world, the one that when Yahusha was being tested in the wilderness, came to him and showed him all of the nations of the earth and said, I will give you all of these things if you would only bow down and worship me. Y'all, we have to take the same position that our Savior took and said that we will worship the Most High in him alone. We have to repeat back that word to him. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, see, while we're arguing amongst ourselves about who is Israel and who is not, that community understands that at the end of the day, the control mechanisms that have been put in place have been put there for their bottom line. And if we are waking up, their bottom line gets affected. So this is why when people say, oh, well, Black people shouldn't have reparations because I don't want to have to pay for the sins of my ancestors. Well, those of us who are in Israel, we already understand that we had to pay for the sins of our ancestors. That's what Deuteronomy 28 is all about, paying for the sins of our ancestors. And the reality is that there were many born again believers who were also slaves. Just because you are born again did not take away the human penalty, the human punishment for what your sin or the sins of your ancestors caused. We as Israel understand that. Now, the community that rejects the notion of us as Israel, they might not see it that way. And some of them even protect this idea that the individual does not have to pay for the sins of their ancestors if they are, of course, Caucasian. Now, we have been doing it, but according to them, they don't believe that they should have to pay for the sins of their ancestors. Even though in Scripture it is clear that the Most High Yah deals with nations, not simply individuals. Now, yes, we must all stand before the Most High by ourselves, but in a corporate fashion, we are being affected whether we like it or not. We are, and the Gentile nations will be as well. So what we have to learn how to do is to stop talking past one another, and we're going to have to start learning to listen to one another. We have to, because the reality is that when you are mind controlled by the system of white supremacy, then whether or not you like it, you begin to take on the mindset of Stockholm syndrome, whereby you're protecting that system over your own best interest and the interest of your people. Now, again, this is whether or not you consider yourself bloodline Israelite, Shemitic blood, or Hamitic blood. Those of us who understand who we are as Israel are coming out of that mind control. We're coming out of that place where we feel the need to protect white interest. It doesn't mean that we don't have relationships with Caucasians on an individual level, but we also understand that we cannot fully put our trust in people who have profited off of our demise. And if there are Caucasian people that are in your life that do not support seeing your total freedom, mind, spirit, as well as your body, if they don't support that, then they're suspect. And for me, I've had several people like that in my life, and I've had to allow them to go, to leave my space, because the goal of what I'm trying to do is to do the will of the Most High, which is to love my brother, love my sister. Those are my neighbors. And also my neighbors outside of the Israelite community. I understand that you are my neighbor if you do the will of my Father who is in heaven. So with that in mind, we have to begin to understand that we have a common enemy that wants to destroy all of us. Why? Because they belong to their father, Hasatan. And if you are Negro in feature, but as Eric Mason said, Angloid in your attitude, you need to really think on why it is that you are aligning yourself up with that system. Is it so that you can line your pockets and keep your brother down? Well, I tell you that any house that is built upon wood, stubble, and hay is going to fall apart. Our substance, even if it's a physical substance, will be great because the Most High Yah will bless it. Their substance is perishing because his hand is not upon it. His hand is not upon the wicked for righteousness' sake. He only blesses those who bless Israel, and he curses those who curse Israel. This is why no matter how much money the United States doles out to the so-called state of Israel, they're not blessed because they're blessing the wrong people. And so you need to think on what you're seeing all around you. Think about what's going on in the nation. Don't let people try to make you think that what's happening now has always been this way. It has not. Not to the degree in which it is today. Sure, there have been throughout the course of time events that have taken fold and have manifested themselves. But the birth pangs have increased, and we are surely living in the last days. We must be aware of the sign and the times, and we cannot philosophize what we are seeing based upon the ideology and the system of white supremacy. We must listen to the Ruach HaKodesh, whose job is to lead and guide us into all truth. So if you can see and look up in the sky and determine whether or not it's going to rain based on the clouds, then surely you can look upon the land and see the calamity that is happening upon the land and see that the judgment of the Most High Yah is upon it. So we must together come out of the system of white supremacy. Together we must come out of the kingdom of darkness and give back to the devil what belongs to him and take back what has been stolen from us. Our identity, our culture, but mainly our faith in the Most High by way of Yahusha HaMasiach. So just wanted to come to y'all real quick with a little nugget, with some words to encourage you all on our journey. Those who want to build with us, we welcome you. But those of you who do not want to build with us, understand that it's okay, because in time, all of us must stand before the judgment seat of the HaMashiach, because at the end of the day, the Most High is the one who will determine who's standing on his side. In any case, thank you all so much for tuning in to Ashanda At Large, where we discuss faith, family, and the future of our community. As always, I invite you all to like as well as to share and to drop your comment below in the comment section. So please feel free to do that. We will be going live again, probably in another few days, but just wanted to come with this little snippet, and hopefully it has blessed you all and encouraged you. So thanks so much again for tuning into Ashanda At Large, where we discuss faith, family, and the future of our community. As always, love yourself without hating your enemies. And until next time, Yah bless and Salamah.